hey there. It's been a while since I've been on camera, so figured I'd take you a little walking tour of this truck since we're done-ish. Well, if you want to know what 5 years of working nights and weekends, as well as dubious understanding of what I was getting myself into, mixed with a little sprinkling of internet knowledge, let's take a look around, see what we got. Well, as with any good tour, we start on the outside. So since we got a little sneak peek in of the interior in the opener, let's start out here with a quick walk around before we jump back inside for a full video tour. So the most common question I get is, number one, what is this thing? So I usually start with a typical alphabet soup name. You know, this chassis is a 2003 M1078A1 LMTV. And if their eyes don't immediately glaze over, I continue, which is to say this is a 2.5 ton light version of the family medium tactical vehicles, which is where we get the designation of LMTV for light medium tactical vehicle in the FMTV line. It was designed to be a cargo or troop transport truck used for all road types and cross-country terrain and in all weather conditions. It was built for the U.S. military by an American company called Stewart & Stevenson. There's usually two questions that I immediately get after that is like, number one, what kind of engine does it have? And number two, what kind of gas mileage do you get? So those asking the engine questions usually want a little bit more detail. So it comes with a 7.2 liter turbocharged Caterpillar 3126B, putting out about between 300 and 330 horsepower and about 860-ish pound-feet of torque. That is coupled to an Allison 3700 7-speed automatic transmission, backed by an Axletech International T600 transfer case. We are full-time four-wheel drive, which is typically running in a 70-30 torque split with 70% of the power going towards the rear and 30% going towards the front. So with a push of a button, we can lock the transfer case into a 50-50 mode though. For what kind of gas mileage question do you get? I've averaged 7.36 miles per gallon over the last 20,000 miles that I've put on it. The best and worst gas mileage I've gotten were both in Wyoming. So I got 8.9 miles per gallon going east with a tailwind and about 5.6 miles going west with a 45 mile an hour sustained headwind and 65 mile per an hour gusts. And that was blowing snow. Then they actually shut down the freeway about 20 minutes after we got off. So that was a rough trip. The tank itself is a 56 gallon or 212 liter capacity, which gives us about a top range of 400 miles, but I fill up about every 350 miles. So as anyone with a diesel has run out of fuel and had to pre-prime injectors, we don't want to do that on the side of the freeway in a cab over design. The only reason I haven't put a 100-gallon capacity tank on it is because of this PTO winch. This winch, it says it's rated at 11,000 pounds on the first wrap and about 6,700 pounds on the 6,780 on the seventh layer. And as we tip the scales at just over 22,000 pounds, fully loaded with water, fuel, and all our junk, I would normally say that winch isn't enough. However, there are a few factors that maybe keep that winch. Number one is the rating is at idle, and number two, with 300 feet of 7/16 line, we can add some snatch blocks if we need some extra pulling power. So number three, we can spool this winch out either the front or the rear. And number four, with the cost of the dual voltage alternator, I don't want to put any more stress on it than I already have. And for some reason, with both these questions, it always leads to how fast is it, which is an oddball question, I think. It's not going to win any drag races, but we did swap out the 370 stock axle gears with a set of 307s, which changed the top speed from mash the pedal with a brick and maybe you'll get to 58 miles per hour on flat ground with a tailwind, with the engine screaming like it's going to come apart, down to cruising comfortable at about 60 miles per hour, around 2,400 RPM. We can go faster, but I don't, because A, I'm in no hurry, and B, the vehicle of this size at 60 miles per hour is scary enough. I wouldn't say it gets floaty at 75 miles per hour because, I wouldn't drive it that fast. And I found that the tires are actually only rated at 68 miles per hour. So, yep, it goes 60. Really, all of the noise this thing makes between wind and engine and gears, the harmonic sweet spot is right around 60 to 62 miles per hour. Another question I get is, what is that line on the tires? Well, my astute friend, that is central tire inflation system, also known as CTIS, or what is that box in the cab with the 5 solid red lights that does nothing no matter what I do? I kid. Once I replaced the control unit and everything made of rubber that has rotted over the last 20 years, it allows us to air up and down the tire pressure from inside the safety of the cab. But we'll talk about that more when we do a cab tour. This usually leads to how heavy are those tires. The tires are about 350 pounds. One person can change them on level ground with a jack and a shovel and a little bit of leverage and a whole lot of swearing. I've done it a few times. It's a project, but it's not the worst thing I've had to do. We did go to one spare so we could mount our bikes on either side. So I have some bicycle mounting brackets that I want to build for there. The tire is actually raised and lowered by a winch that is hidden back in the back there. Coming over onto the driver's side, we do have an external shower that's hot and cold water. It's super nice in the summertime to wash your dog or rinse your gear. Back there in the back is our gray water dump valve. We do not have gray water storage tanks on the truck. That's a future project. So right now we just use biodegradable soaps and dump to the ground if we're in an area that allows it, or we have a rollaway 15-gallon tank if we're not in an area that allows it. Also, we have a stinky slinky hose that is in the frame rail mount up here. It goes, the stinky slinky slides right in there, so that if we do end up in an RV camp for some reason, like when we're camping with the in-laws, we can hook up to the camp septic system. Up here we have our door for our 5-gallon cassette toilet that handles our black water needs. That lasts the two of us about a week before we need to find a dump station or a pit toilet or just a regular toilet in a pinch. I mean, it stinks to high heaven, so I usually don't dump it into a regular toilet other than at home, or if I'm at the in-laws house and they're taking a shower and I can trap them in there with my stench of my victory. So it's super convenient, and I've liked it better than having a black tank. We did look at other toilet alternatives, but I could do a whole video on why we went with a cassette over a black tank or a composting or incinerator or some sort of medieval moat setup. In front of that is the oil tank for our PTO system. That is just for the winch, so you can tell that if I did remove the winch, I could save a whole lot of space. Up top, we have a ladder going up to our rooftop deck, which we'll jump up and take a look at here in a minute. I did replace the stock mirrors with some Cascadia mirrors. If I was going to do it again, I would get a mirror that hooks both top and bottom on the door, because I did have to do some structural reinforcement work inside of the door to prevent those mirrors from flopping like a sheet of paper. Up front, and as we said up top, those ladders lead up to the roof rack and our brush guard-ish thing. We are using low profile rack lights. Those things are pretty darn bright, so I've been pretty happy with them. We have FMRS, GMRS radio on the antenna on the right there, and then on the left we have a CB antenna. I also use that CB antenna. It is my low bridge curb feeler. So if we hit that antenna, we actually will hit the solar panels. So from here, you can take a quick look at our handmade roof rack. It does not touch the top of the truck except for in these. So we got four points of contact on the top of the truck. We have point of contact at the bottom, and then point of contact up at the front. So up top here on the roof rack, we have just enough space here to put 2 chairs and have a little space to hang out. We have a couple of rooftop storage boxes. So behind the cab, you can see our pass-through. Ignore the wiring coming up in these cheap marker lights. I had to put those on for our DOT inspection. So up here on the rooftop, we have our PepWave, which is our cellular antennas, as well as our outside Wi-Fi antennas. I did flat mount my Starlink by cutting the motors out of it and making a 3D printed base for it. If you'd like to know how to do that, there is a great video from Overlanders. I'll link that below. We have the outside of our rooftop vent, as well as 1.2 kilowatts of solar. So they're just rich solar 200-watt panels. So let's jump down into the cab, take a look at it. Okay, sitting here in the driver's seat, we can see a few customizations that we've made. We did do power windows and power locks. We do have an auxiliary crank that we can use to roll down the window if the regulator has a problem or blows out. Down below here we have our rack lights as well as some auxiliary panel portion stuff. We did make an auxiliary fuse panel down there. We do have, this is our FMRS GMRS radio. We have a little speedometer, GPS-based speedometer. We did put cruise control, added cruise control to the truck. We repainted the dash, put just a Bluetooth stereo, and then we have our power window, or sorry, our power mirror and heater controls. We've added MagSafe mounts for our iPhones. Of course, you have to have a dash cam, level indicators for when we're on level on the truck. We did go with the Gen 2 AC unit, so we did add air conditioning to this truck. This is for our CTIS controller. That allows us to air up and down our tire pressure to 4 preset levels, and we can adjust what the pressure is we want on each one of those levels. We threw a couple of cup holders in here. These are just spray paint can holders, magnetic spray paint can holders from Harbor Freight. All of the door cards were door cards, and the ceiling was just indoor-outdoor carpet on an 80/20 frame that we made. This is 1/4-inch plywood backed, just screwed to some riv nuts up in there. So this is all, easy, some bungee cord stuff that we can actually mount stuff with, some garbage holders up there. We replaced the stock disaster seats with Chrysler Pacifica seats. So those are actually pretty nice. Those are a 3rd row takeout seat with the armrests. Makes it really nice. The back is, instead of being 1/4-inch plywood, it's 1/2-inch plywood in case I want to mount stuff to it. This is the door for our pass-through that we'll take a look at from the inside of the Habitat. But other than that, that's pretty much about it for up here. Here, we'll show you the ladder. Looks pretty cool. As you can see, when you first walk into the truck, you have your Victron control panel here that shows water tanks. We've got 90 gallons of water, fresh water on board. Shows you your battery stats, solar stats. We have 1.2 kilowatts of solar on the roof with it's like 4.95 kilowatts of battery capacity behind this refrigerator. I just want to take a moment to notice Roy's handiwork in getting all of the electrical completed and labeled and all of that good stuff. So thank you, Roy, for all of your hard work. It does not go unnoticed, especially with the flux capacitor. Pretty decent sized, I think it's 9 cubic foot DC, 12 volt DC, unique refrigerator. You can get these at Home Depot, or you can get them off the Goddard website. We have induction. We have a convection oven microwave combo. I don't know, I haven't used it yet, other than I think I used it once so far. So that's something to be checked into later. To the left, we have our infotainment center that has just a Velcro strap. You can pull it off and strap it off to the side, and we can watch TV from over there. I usually just hook up my laptop and we do some editing, stuff like that. And then when we're in transit mode, it's just easy to strap back on because this is just indoor-outdoor carpet, and so I just have a strap. Velcro sticks to it nicely. We have our breaker panel up here for our main battery disconnect. We have a remote switch for our main battery disconnect, as well as our remote disconnect for our air conditioner, cabin lights, freshwater DC refrigerator, solar panels, shore power, interior and exterior outlets, and then also our water heater is switched up here. I wanted to show you up here is our wire chase. It is just on spring-a-thing hitches. This is our PEP wave. So we do have 2 cell SIM cards in here, as well as we're hooking into our Starlink. This is a DC converter for the Starlink that is on the roof, as well as our Turbo GX is in here. And then I have just a little fuse panel for all of this stuff in the main cabin lights. But other than that, yes, I know the wiring needs to be re-wrapped and cleaned and finished. It's not pretty, but it is protected. Over here we have the 3 drawers. We have his, hers, and hers in the junk drawer, basically, with Sky's drawer. USB outlets that you can turn on and off for USB 2.0, 3.0, and then USB-C. An AC charging outlet. We have the bed controls here. So if we swing around to this side of the dinette, we can see that we have our table controls, our air conditioning controls, and our heater controls. As you walk in, we have our shoe storage right here. Mostly I just keep the dog bowl in there, but we've got, and apparently the Stinky Slinky. I did just finish the threshold and door trim. So yeah, we do have this side is open where, you know, we keep Michelle's hiking stick and our broom and stuff, and then our bug net that velcros around over the door. So we can leave the door open and get airflow through there. But that also provides airflow in. One nice thing about the way that I've designed this thing is there is a continuous channel of airflow. So there's airflow that cuts through underneath here, and comes around and goes underneath the counters here, back behind the water tanks, all the way around, and dumps, you know, has it dump out back over here. So when the air conditioner and the heater is pulling air, it's actually pulling air from inside the space down there and keeping it warm. So facing the dinette, as you can see, we have our brazing lower table. This table goes up and down. The bed also comes down on track actuators. As you saw in the opening credits, we have the ladder for when we come down, when we want to get in and out of the bed. The dinette itself has storage underneath all of the seats. Underneath this seat and that seat are our water tanks. Every one of these seat backs does open and has storage behind it. Like this one has blankets and jackets and extra stuff there. Furnace is under here, and our air conditioning system, our DC air conditioner, is underneath here on this side. That side is our hot water tank. We do have a glycol line going over to the hot water tank. As we're heating up the habitat, we can also heat up our hot water. Little 2-for-1 package. Our water pump is underneath over there. Our water filtration system is on this side. So here we just have from the sediment filter all the way down to the black carbon filter, and then we have a UV filter on top. That is a 24-volt UV ballast, so we can have nice, fresh, clean drinking water that comes out of that tap. That tap is filtered water straight out of the tanks. All the water going into the truck is filtered. So here we can also get a view of our water tanks. We do have the 6-inch cleanouts so that we can get in there and scrub them out, make sure there's nothing growing in there. We do have our vents. Everything is valved so that we can isolate any portion of the system. You might be able to see down back there that we have an external shower head that is also valved so that we can have showers outside. These cushions are two bad design decisions. I should have done them as one piece instead of, each having a section for there and a section for here and a section for over there. I wanted that for some reason because I thought, well, every panel that opens, I can just pull the cushion. Well, you need to pull the adjacent cushions as well because the edges of the cushion get caught as you're trying to close the door. So not only that, you can see this cushion is sideways because when I had these cushions made, you can see that I forgot that when you stuff cushions, each cushion is a 1/2 inch over. So by the time you get on each end, so each cushion's 1 inch over. I have 3 cushions and I measured it for 1 cushion. So whoops. So yeah, I need to get this, I need to cut this cushion down by 2 inches, 2.5 inches actually, and then I can wedge it in there. So we have Arctic turn windows with the blackout curtains on the bottom. I flipped them upside down because I wanted to black out so I can just peek out when we're, when I hear something. I want to be able to peek out and not have to, I kind of didn't want people looking in while I was looking out. So it's got the bug screen on one side, the blackout curtain on the other. We can open it that way. So there's our vent for our air conditioner. So it does actually blow up, hits the bed, and actually cools this area first, as well as when the bed is down, it blows up against the wall and actually cools the top when the bed is down. So let's pan over into the kitchen. Okay, and over in the kitchen we have our butcher block countertop. Not 100% sure I would go with a butcher block countertop again. We do have we got some, left some water on there, and this piece split here, so I need to dig that out and dig out this crack and then fill it with some epoxy or something. We did put a big Bravante sink in it with a, just a catch grate on the bottom, so we could do dishes and just leave them in the, leave dirty dishes in there as we go, and then cover it up with a cutting board so we don't have to look at it. All of the doors are soft close magnetic latch, but I do actually latch these things. I put a little bungee cord and lock these in when I'm traveling or 4x, so that we haven't had them come open, but I started doing the bungee cord when I actually started putting breakable stuff up there. Nice magnetic holder for our knives and spoons, serving spoons and stuff like that. I've never had anything fall off. We've done some pretty good 4x with stuff in there. We have a AC outlet stuck in there, pop-up outlet in the countertop. Today cooking, we have a portable induction cooktop that we just take outside or we plug in right over there. All of these panels are just metal panels that are powder coated. They're all held up here with magnets, so I can pop any one of these panels and replace it. Everything in the truck I can pull apart, so I could strip this entire truck and reconfigure it if I needed to, without like ripping glue and stuff like that. These are all soft close hinges, soft close drawer slides. They actually do have a pretty decent little pull, so this is the only drawer that I've had pop open on me while we're four-wheeling, so I will be putting a magnetic catch on the drawers in the future. And yeah, other than that, got my awesome paper towel holder. Nobody cares. I do have my remote for the bathroom, which we'll jump into next. And yeah, I don't know why it's on the remote. I could push the button in the bathroom, but it's more fun to just push the button on the remote. All right, let's check out the bathroom. So you come into the bathroom here. We have our nice HPDDA floor. That's pretty good. We have a rain head, shower head, and a wand. That rain head, shower head is not a low flow, so it does produce quite a bit of water, or does use quite a bit of water. I do love it, though. That thing is awesome. Got to have your body buff and shower gels and all that stuff. We come to this point, we have our pass-through up to the cab. We do have a boot in there. I keep that chunk of foam in there for sound deadening. It does help. I did not insulate this because the thought process behind it was I wanted a big thermal sink right here so that any warm, moist air would condense on this cold plate. It does. It works great. It rains down into the shower pan. Problem, that is a massive space of cold air. So with this door closed, it really makes this bathroom cold when it's 30 degrees outside. As you saw in the sequence, in opening sequence, we do have a divider to keep the the toilet area dry. So we have the dry toilet, and then we have a towel bar that we can hang our towels on back there. So we do have our cabinet up here. The cabinet has, we just keep our towels, toothbrushes, all that stuff in there. I do have an outlet in the back. Yes, it is a GFCI outlet for charging, razors and toothbrushes and stuff like that. We have a half knockoff fan that was an Amazon purchase, because I don't know why I didn't buy. I don't know why I just didn't buy the high-end name brand fan. The fan works great. I have had an issue with the it got wet because the rain sensor apparently didn't work, and it got wet, so the board blew out in it. The buttons don't work, but the remote works. And I do have another one. I have a complete separate spare because they're cheap enough. I could buy two for the less than the price of a fantastic fan. We do have a curtain here that blocks off, people seeing you shower from the dinette, that would just be creepy. Yeah, we just have a standard Thetford cassette toilet. We do have our 6-inch cutout there because there is a pretty much like a 4-inch space, about a 4 or 5-inch gap underneath this floor here, where all our water lines run. So I have our cutoffs so we can isolate the toilet, or we can isolate the shower. So if we do have a blowout, I can go ahead and isolate it there, and I can reach in, and I've got enough space in there to get a tool in. And then all of these panels come off. They're just on there with magnets. So those panels just pop off nice and easy. Same with the kitchen. Well, and there we go. There's our little walking tour around the truck. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I'll try and answer as many as I can. If you want to know any specifics on all of these builds, pretty much there's almost 200 videos on the channel that document each individual one of these builds. So have a poke around, and we'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching. There's our vent for our air conditioner, which is covered in dog hair right now. Awesome. Thanks, Sky. So there's our... Jeez. I just vacuumed this place, man. It's called Husky Hair Half-Life. You can only ever get half of the husky hair at any one time. Forgot to turn on the laptop. Works with my other laptop. Just grabbed this one because I thought, oh yeah, that'll work. Cool. It'll be cool. Turns out it's not. It's not cool. It's not cool at all. Anyway. So, how about we take a look at the specifications of this pile of junk?